meeting of the Planning Board. Tonight's agenda, we have a call to order. And next we have A&Rs. Any A&Rs? No A&Rs, right?
No.
So we can scratch that. Then we got the 635 waiver of site plan for Old Sturbridge Village to allow the construction of a cabinet shop on the premises located at 1 Old Sturbridge Village Road. Then we have town planner update, old and new business, and adjournment. Tonight I'd like to welcome a new member to the board, Dane Labonte, to my left. We also have present tonight Jeff. Jeff's not here yet. He will be here shortly. Dane's here. Chris Bouchard and Mike Chisholm. We also have our administrative assistant, Janae Lacey, and our town planner, Jean Boubon. Absent tonight is Charlie Blanchard and Sue Waters. So we cannot do the approval of minutes. We don't have enough people here for that for our last meeting. So, and Jeff is here now. Do you want to, can we wait? Do we have to go at 7:35? Is that?
No, it's just a waiver, so you could do it now if you'd like.
So we'll get going on the waiver for the Old Sturbridge Village. And when you come up, if you could just identify yourselves and speak into the microphone. Thank you.
So I'm Brad King. I'm the Senior Vice President at Old Sturbridge Village.
And I'm Stephen Fleshman with Stephen Fleshman Architect.
That's right.
Good evening. Thanks for having us here tonight to talk about this project at Old Sturbridge Village. I think in the information that we provided, I gave a little a narrative on the building itself. Back in the 80s, we did have a cabinet shop up in the formal exhibit, and recently we thought it would be important to reinstate this cabinet shop. Our curators have been really busy looking at the building and basically what activities will be in it. I think it'll be an interesting exhibit for the public. The type of work that will be done in there will be everything from furniture to cabinets to coffins to the whole gamut of things that would have been built back in the 1830s. To talk a little bit about the site, and feel free to ask questions as I go along, just jump in. Talk about the site. This building will be located south of the cemetery. If most of you are probably familiar with the village, but there's the, scares, yeah. I'm not going to get you. So there's the meeting house and the graveyard. Here's Aza Night. Here's the common. And this is where the structure will be placed. It's roughly 600 square feet, or 30 by 20. And there's a road that comes down southerly of it, and there's a vernal stream that runs adjacent to it. So, we have gone to conservation and have gotten their approval to proceed on the installation of this project. We're certainly going to continue to work with them as the work proceeds, with the straw and siltation control and some other additional swale work that they had requested. To talk about the structure, I'll leave it to Steve to kind of go from there. Any questions, again, feel free.
Were there any other conditions that the Conservation Committee had suggested?
The only thing that we talked about was a swale, erosion-controlled swale, and we're still gonna meet with Rebecca to confirm exactly how that. We show it as crushed stone, but we may opt for more of a riprap type swale, would be less intrusive and probably a little more historically correct.
And that's the only condition that they suggested?
Other than the siltation, that was the only thing that I'm aware of. Jean, correct? Yeah.
Yes.
So Brad, I'll let you be my pointer.
Yeah, okay, you holler.
Okay, so in the middle here, we have the floor plan, which I think everybody has a copy of that. It is a 20 by 30 structure, broken into thirds. So the front third, this zone here will be the zone where the general public will be able to come in and walk through the space to observe the making of cabinets. The other two-thirds are truly the functional interpreter space where the actual work would be performed. It is a single story with an attic space. The attic space is just going to be mechanical only. It'll have a small air handler in the attic, and then there is a crawl space underneath the space, which is non-habitable. It's only about 3 foot tall. As you can see in the elevations, it would be constructed traditionally to match the village. We are mixing some construction types. This is a secret. I don't know if you want me to tell this, but
Oh, no, it's
the first floor and the foundation will be modern construction with a veneer stone located on it to give the illusion that the foundation is a stone foundation. The flooring system would be traditional 2-by construction with girder beams, floor joists and such. Then there would be like a 5/4 board laying onto the floor to give you the illusion of the traditional floor. And then the structure from that first floor platform up to the ceiling will be post and beam, which will be manufactured by the interpreters on site and constructed on site in the presence of people watching that is visiting the village. Again, the upper attic space is going to be traditional 2-by rafters above that portion. So only the portion that the general public can actually walk into will be authentic, and everything above and below will be more traditional modern construction.
And also, as part of that, we'll be integrating energy conservation measures. There'll be a rigid insulation on the exterior that will be covered over by clapboard, and as well as the attic will be insulated in the
Attic's insulated, the
basement.
crawl
Yeah.
space is
Yeah.
insulated.
And there will be traditionally created sash, but we will put a storm panel over it as well for energy conservation.
How do you get in the attic?
It would be the, right up.
This door, there's a door on this end. It would be ladder only
Yeah.
access for maintenance.
And we are considering a pull down from the internal as well. I don't know
There
if
was a
that's
discussion about that,
Yeah, we haven't
but we were
finalized
thinking
that.
that would typically not be a traditional
Yeah.
feature in that type of structure, so we were looking at just accessing from the outside.
Jeff?
I have no questions, no.
Dane, you all set? Chris?
All set?
The only question I had is, I'm looking at the plans, it's all steps in, you don't have to make a handicap accessible in the building?
Actually, it doesn't show on this plan, but there's a door here that will have an at-grade ramp, earth ramp, that will come into the space. And if I flip this back
Yeah.
over, I believe it was added to
Yeah.
the newest site plan, which is right here.
Yeah.
So there is a ramp to
So
provide
we-
accessible.
In the village, from not to be intrusive with a big PT ramp, we developed what we call earthen ramps. And so certainly there's control to prevent soil wood contact, but we've used it successfully throughout the whole museum. So from a picture taking point of view, you don't have this huge wooden ramp. And so it would run along the side here of the building with grade upgrades and, like I said, retainage prevents soil wood contact.
Thank you. Jean?
So the project has been reviewed by staff. No concerns were noted. I did make note of the ADA compliance, and that is shown on the new plan that we received this afternoon, or this morning. Thank you for sending that. The project has been approved by the Conservation Commission, and since no conditions related to site plans such as parking or pedestrian circulation or stormwater management or those things would change, I'd recommend that you could waive site plan review as required under Chapter 25, Section 2504.
Can I get a motion to that effect?
Motion.
I'll second.
Second? All in favor? There you go.
Thank you.
All right.
You're all set?
Thank you. Appreciate
Thank you.
it.
Thank you.
Russ, I don't know if they were here for that application.
Oh, I'm sorry. Were you here for comments on this? No. Okay. Thank you, Gene. Thank you. My apologies. Okay. Update.
All right. So on March 24th, we'll have the public hearing for the proposed zoning amendments that you voted to be the petitioner. I may or may not be here. I may be on vacation. I may not be. I will give you everything. I'm working on the packets now. I'll get that to you as soon as I can. If anyone has any questions. Dane, you weren't here for that. If you have some time, I don't know what your work schedule is. We can talk about that. If you want to come in, I can go over everything with you in advance to kind of catch you up on that. Jeff, we had talked about the planning board rep to the CPC, but apparently he and Dane have worked it out amongst themselves. I'll let Jeff explain.
We've chatted in private. I think for now, I'm going to continue on it, and Dane is certainly willing to take over if, for whatever reason, I no longer wish to be on it. But yeah, so for now, no changes to report.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then the host community agreements were signed for Caregiver Patient Connection and 253 Organic at the Board of Selectmen's meeting held on March 2nd. So we currently have one application that's been filed, and that's for Caregiver Patient Connection. I would like to try to set up a site visit. And I know that at least one member had some questions on the procedure. I don't know if you want me to fill in a little bit on the procedure, or
Sure.
if you'd rather I write something up. Okay, so the procedure is, we received, so 2 host community agreements were signed by the Board of Selectmen. The third for Heal, we expected to be signed Monday. However, the meeting, there was lack of a quorum due to work conflicts with 2 of the members. So that is now scheduled for Monday evening before the Board of Selectmen. At this time, we have one application before us, which is Caregiver Patient Connection. Before we leave tonight, I'd like to set up a site visit for that. And we'll go out. You'll be able to see the site. The engineer will be there. He'll show you where the buildings are going, where the driveway entrances are going, stormwater management things. There's a mobile home park on the premises, so we can see where the access is to that. You can't deliberate when you're out there, but you can certainly ask questions of the engineer if you don't understand some of the site layout. At the same time, I've sent out for quotes for peer review for the traffic report and the stormwater management, because those are 2 things that we don't have the expertise in-house to review. So I'm getting quotes. I gave until this Friday for the quotes to be submitted. Once I receive the quotes, I'll review them with the applicant. They will pay the peer review fee, and then review will commence from that point. I've asked those quoting to calculate in attendance at a planning board meeting if necessary. So I would expect being able to have the engineer here if needed to discuss the traffic study and the stormwater, which I think are probably 2 of the biggest issues that we'll be looking at with this. I know that also, I'll say that both 253 Organic and CPC have already gone to the design review committee, and they have had their designs approved, their architectural designs and their signs. CPC has filed a request for determination of applicability with the Conservation Commission, so that process is underway. So by the time we have our public hearing on March 14th, some of these other approvals will be out of the way. Hopefully we'll have a peer review report. They will make their presentation, any questions from the board, comments from our peer reviewers, any questions from the audience, and then I would expect that you'll vote on a special permit request and a site plan request, and I'll have all of that in my report for you. I know some of you may be concerned that the Board of Selectmen voted to endorse or to sign 3 host community agreements. That doesn't really impact you. Our bylaw states that we can grant up to 2 special permits, and that's dependent on the number of all alcohol licenses that we have. So it actually came out, it's 20% or 1.6. At this point, I don't expect 253 to be submitting an application anytime soon. They've suspended their planning process for the moment, and I do expect Heal will be filing once their host community agreement is signed. Excuse me. It may be that you only have 2 that ever come before you. In the event all 3 file, it would really be whoever's application is technically complete and meets all of the criteria in kind of which order they come in. So I don't think that we should get too hung up on the 2 or 3. At this point, it looks like we'll only have 2 applications, at least in the immediate future, so. Does that help?
And it's April 14th.
April 14th.
Yeah, you said March.
I've been messing all my dates up today, sorry. April 14th.
Have all of them gone through the necessary state mandates in terms of getting licensure and?
No, they can't do that until they get the local approvals.
Okay, all right.
So under the bylaw, they have to show us their status of their application. So what they've been doing is providing a screenshot showing that they've started their application process, and they can't complete that until they get everything from us.
Okay.
Excuse me. I am not sick, just dry in here.
Well, for purposes of scheduling, if there's any way we can push it to 6, just because of my travel, but if it doesn't work with everyone else, I'll just have to leave it a little early and make it for 5:30 or so.
I think we could do it at 6, but I think then we'd do, I was hoping to schedule 2 at one night, but we can split them up and do them 2 different nights.
Well, anybody have any preference?
I think we should talk about the day first, because we were first talking about Monday 4/6.
I can stay on Monday, the 6th, if that works for everybody, and then I'm here Tuesday, the 7th as well.
That is a CPC meeting, the 6th.
Okay.
Either of those work for me. I have a slight preference for the 7th.
The 7th,
7th would be better for me.
okay,
Better for Jean, too. I'm fine on the 7th.
okay.
6 o'clock is better for me, too, on the
Okay.
7th.
The
Yeah,
dates
that
work
works.
for me. My biggest challenge is between 5 and 6, 6:15, call it. I usually watch my daughter,
Okay,
so I don't have childcare until my wife gets home around 6:15, so that's my only challenge.
Okay.
But before 5 o'clock or after 6:15, it's usually I'm wide open.
how about, I could always ask the engineer if he minds being there earlier and then later.
That would work. Yeah.
So at what time could you be there?
I could be there at 4 o'clock,
4,
between 4 and 5, or any time after 6:15.
okay. Let me talk to them, see what we can
Yep,
arrange.
yep.
There's nothing to say you all have to be there at once, I just want you all to see the site.
The 7th works for me as well.
7th too? Okay. All right, so why don't we say 6 PM on the 7th? I'll speak to the applicant tomorrow. I'll just double check with Charlie and Sue and make sure that works. And then I'll also see if they could do an earlier,
And this is the one at 2131. the
right,
mobile
365 Main. And then I do expect maybe next week we'll be getting the HEAL application. And I know some of you were able to go on the tour and some of you weren't, so I'll set up a tour over there too, and I'll try to do it later evening.
So if we went to that tour, we don't have to go again.
No.
If we don't, unless we want to.
Right, unless you
Right,
want to, right. There's nothing to say you have to go to any of these, but I just thought
I'll go to the other one.
it's helpful. I don't think any of you have had a full site plan.
The RV park I went to.
The RV
Yeah.
park, that's right, that's right. So I think it will be good, and they'll mark out where the building's going to be, where the access ways are going to be, and things like that, so, great. I will get back to all of you on that. And that's all I have for you.
Gentlemen, do you have something to bring before our board tonight?
No, I was just here just because I was told that we were going to be talking about a property that I have an interest in looking at.
Not on our agenda, I don't think.
Supposedly 9 Holland Road.
Oh, that was 2 weeks ago?
We were told tonight it was going to be discussed.
It was 2 weeks ago, it was on the agenda, sorry.
Did you approve the minutes of that?
No, we don't have enough to,
We do have the draft minutes that can be, if you want to leave your email address, we can email you a copy of the draft minutes.
ZEEONE 66.
66.
at yahoo.com.
Was anything approved during that meeting?
No, it was just more of an information type.
Yeah.
And that'll be in the minutes, so we can review it.
Russ, what do we need for a quorum to vote those minutes on?
We need four.
I wasn't
Mike
there.
wasn't
Oh,
here, and
gotcha.
and Jeff, and,
Yeah,
I
but
mean,
the meeting would
Charlie
be
and,
online,
Sue
right?
aren't here, so,
Yes,
Yeah.
and the
You can
tape,
view the meeting online.
yeah. The tape of the meeting is online as well.
yeah.
What site would you want for that?
The Town of Sturbridge website, and then if you go to cable access, and then you can pull up meetings on demand. And it was our meeting of,
25th, I think. Yep, Tuesday the 25th?
yes, the 25th.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, I heard
That'd
that.
probably be your best bet, is to go online and watch, you can actually watch the whole discussion.
Good.
Really appreciate it.
We're townofsturbridge.gov on there now too, right?
Just hoping to do something with the site.
We are too.
Yeah.
And then it comes out.
Was
Same
does
stuff.
that project have to do with the big building, tearing down what's there and replacing it, some of the drawings that were submitted last year?
Same
Um,
project.
Yeah, same project, yeah.
Thank
There
you very
go.
much.
You're welcome.
Have a good night.
Thank you.
You're welcome. All set, Gene?
I am.
Jeff, old business?
The CPTC conference was canceled.
Canceled.
Any idea when it might be made up, or whether they're gonna make it digital, like online for the week?
They didn't say, the announcement this morning said that they were hoping to reschedule it, but were unsure at this time, and they would keep us posted whether they would actually have a conference or make some of the courses available online, so we'll keep you posted.
Has the coronavirus, I mean, is there any suggestion right now or any consideration into closing down meetings, public spaces, anything like that in the town? And the reason I'm asking is because it seems to be, hitting communities now, the shutting down of communities.
Not that I'm aware of. I don't know if Jeff wants to speak to.
The health agent hasn't made that recommendation.
Okay.
So we'll follow their lead on what's advisable in the state. The governor declared a state of emergency today.
Oh, I did not know that.
Really
Okay.
don't know what that means. I think that's just a tool for him to use whatever extraordinary powers he
Right,
can provide.
right.
So we'll see tomorrow. There's a conference call at 3 for health officials. So we should know more after that.
Okay.
Jeff, right now they recommend anything over 150 people, they want to cancel meetings. It's just a recommendation, it's not.
Mm-hmm.
That gives you an idea of what they're thinking at the moment, but
Right.
like Jeff said, that could change
Right.
depending on cases and how they come up.
Right.
Wash your hands.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't touch anything.
Don't, or your face.
Shake hands.
Mm.
Keep your
All
hands
set?
away from your mouth, Jeffrey.
In my hands. If I wash them, I'm fine.
Dane, you probably don't, but I'll ask you anyways, any old business?
No old business for me,
Okay.
thank you.
Mike?
None.
Good. Chris? Good. New business?
Nothing.
None. No.
Anybody have anything else for the board tonight? Hearing none, I'll accept the motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second? All in favor? There we go.
Trying to break Charlie.